The ship floated in space like a silver needle against black cloth. Lisa Adams watched from her window as stars twinkled in the distance. She was the only human left on board after the others had gone to sleep in cryopods for the long journey. Home Lisa had volunteered to stay awake for the final system checks. She was good at her job as lead engineer and knew the ship better than anyone. But even she had not expected to find what waited in the cargo bay. The alien woman stood 7 feet, tall with skin that seemed to shift colors like an oil slick. Her eyes were large and completely black without whites or pupils. Her long fingers ended in points that looked sharp enough to cut metal, but moved with grace as she gestured. No human had ever seen one of the Vashtari up close. Their species avoided contact with others, keeping to their own systems at the edge of known space. This one had been found drifting in a damaged escape pod, barely alive. Lisa stepped forward, her heart racing. The alien woman turned her head slowly, watching Lisa with those endless black eyes. "Hello," said Lisa, her voice barely above a whisper. "I am Lisa." The alien tilted her head. "My name is not pronounceable in your language," she said. Her voice sounded like music chimes and whispers all at once. "You may call me Vesh." Lisa nodded, trying to hide her fear and excitement. "I need to ask why you were in that pod. What happened to your ship?" Vesh moved closer. Her movements were fluid, like water flowing. "I escaped," she said. "My people are at war with themselves. Those who wish to make contact with other species and those who wish to remain isolated. I am of the former." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. The Vashtari were known to have technology far beyond human understanding. If they went to war with each other, the consequences could be devastating for nearby systems, including Earth. "I have information." Vesh continued. "That is why they hunt me. That is why I must reach your leaders." "What kind of information?" asked Lisa. Vesh raised one long finger to her temple. "A weapon," she said. "One that could destroy entire star systems. My faction wants to share defensive technology with your people. The isolationists want to keep it for themselves." Lisa swallowed hard. "Why would you help us?" Vesh made a sound like soft bells. "Because we have watched your kind for centuries. You are young, but you learn quickly. You adapt. You survive against odds that would destroy others. We believe you deserve a chance." The ship suddenly shuddered. Lisa grabbed the wall to steady herself. Alarms began to blare throughout the corridors. "They have found me," said Vesh, her voice calm despite the chaos. "They will destroy this vessel and everyone on it unless I surrender." Lisa rushed to a nearby console, pulling up sensor data. A massive ship had appeared seemingly out of nowhere. It was unlike any vessel Lisa had ever seen, shaped like a giant sea creature with glowing blue lines running along its hull. "How did they track you?" she asked. Vesh pointed to her chest. "Inside me," she said. "A beacon. I cannot remove it without dying." Lisa thought quickly. This was beyond her training, beyond anything humanity had prepared for. But she was the only one awake, the only one who could make a decision that might save not just her crew but possibly her entire species. "What if I remove it?" she asked. Vesh tilted her head again. "Your technology is not advanced enough." Lisa smiled. "I may surprise you," she said. "Human ingenuity was famous throughout the galaxy. We figure things out. We make do with what we have." The ship rocked again, harder this time. A voice came over the comm system in a language Lisa did not understand, but the threat was clear. Vesh listened, then turned to Lisa. "They demand I return or they will open fire." Lisa made her decision quickly. "Follow me," she said, leading the alien woman through the corridors toward the medical bay. "I need you to trust me." Vesh followed her movements, graceful despite the ship's violent shaking. "Can you really remove the beacon without killing me?" "I don't know," admitted Lisa. "But I know our medical systems better than anyone. And I know we can't let them take you. If what you're saying is true, in the medical bay." Lisa activated the scanner, locating the beacon, embedded near what she assumed was Vesh's heart or whatever organ served that purpose. The device was small but complex. Lisa studied the readouts. "I can do this," she said with more confidence than she felt. "But it will hurt. Pain is temporary," said Vesh. Extinction is forever. Lisa prepared the surgical tools, setting up the automated system. She had never performed surgery, but the ship's medical AI could handle the procedure if properly instructed. The ship rocked again, more violently this time. Lisa fell against Vesh, who caught her with surprising strength. "They are charging weapons," Vesh said. "We have minutes at most." Lisa worked faster than she ever had, programming the surgical sequence. The AI began the procedure as Lisa held Vesh still. The alien made no sound as the laser scalpel cut into her shifting skin. The room shook with each blast from the enemy ship. Lisa watched the monitor showing the shields weakening with each hit. She knew they wouldn't last much longer. The medical AI worked with precision despite the chaos, extracting the small beacon from Vesh's body. When the beacon was removed, Lisa crushed it under her boot. "Now we need to get you to the bridge," she said. "We can send a message to Earth. Warn them." Vesh stood, her skin rippling with what might have been pain, but her black eyes remained steady. "We must hurry," she said. They made their way to the bridge as the enemy ship drew closer. Lisa activated the communication array, preparing to send an emergency transmission to Earth with all the data Vesh had brought. The alien woman placed her hand on the console. Her fingers seemed to meld with the technology. Information began flowing across the screens faster than Lisa could follow. "What are you doing?" asked Lisa. "Giving your people what they need to survive," said. "Vesh defense systems shield technology weapons that can repel an attack. All things my people developed over thousands of years." Lisa watched in amazement as the computer systems responded to Vesh's touch. The alien seemed to be communicating directly with the ship in a way no human could. Lines of code flashed across the screens, too fast for Lisa to read. The enemy ship fired again. A blast of energy hit their vessel, sending Lisa sprawling across the deck. Vesh remained standing, somehow anchored to the floor. "Lisa," the alien called, her voice strained. "We must leave now. This ship will not survive another attack." Lisa pulled herself up, feeling blood trickle from a cut on her forehead. "What about the crew?" she asked, thinking of the people sleeping in their cryopods. Vesh looked at her with those impossibly dark eyes. "They will die if we stay," she said simply, "and so will we. The knowledge I carry is too important to be lost." Lisa felt torn between her duty to her crew and the potential salvation of her entire species. She looked at the monitors showing the enemy ship charging weapons again. The shields were almost gone. She made her decision quickly, activating the ship's evacuation protocol. The computer voice announced that all cryopods would be ejected with emergency power and beacons. They would drift in space, but they would be safe from the battle. Their chances of rescue were slim, but better than certain death. The enemy fired. Again, the ship groaned around the metal, tearing as sections depressurized. Lisa grabbed Vesh's arm, pulling her toward the escape pods. "We need to go now," she shouted. They ran through the failing ship as lights flickered and gravity became unstable. Lisa felt her feet leave the floor several times, but Vesh's strong grip kept her moving forward. They reached the last escape pod just as another blast rocked the ship. Lisa pushed Vesh inside, then jumped in after her, sealing the hatch. She activated the launch sequence, feeling the pod detach from the dying vessel. Through the small viewport, Lisa watched her ship break apart, the cryopods already safely away, drifting like seeds in the wind. The enemy vessel turned its attention to their small pod. Its weapons glowing with building energy were not going to make it. Whispered Lisa. Vesh placed her hand on the pod's simple controls. Her skin shifted colors faster now, pulsing with light. The pod suddenly accelerated faster than its engines should have allowed, shooting away from the enemy ship like a bullet. The last thing Lisa saw before they entered faster than light travel was the enemy ship growing smaller behind them. Then stars stretched into lines of light, and they were gone, jumping to safety. Lisa looked at Vesh with new understanding. The alien woman had just saved her life and somehow modified their escape pod to do something it was never designed to do. "Where are we going?" she asked. Vesh turned those black eyes to her Earth. She said simply, "We must warn your people, and I must share what I know." Lisa nodded, feeling the weight of their mission. The fate of humanity might rest in their hands. The escape pod hurled through space at impossible speeds. Lisa had never experienced such acceleration. even in the most advanced human ships. Her body felt heavy against the seat as stars streaked by in blurred lines outside the small viewport. Vesh sat perfectly still, her black eyes fixed on the makeshift control panel her fingers had created from the pod's simple systems. The alien skin pulsed with colors that seemed to match the rhythm of the engines. "How are you doing this?" asked Lisa, her voice strained against the pressure. Vesh did not turn her head. "My people understand energy in ways yours does not," she said simply. "I have temporarily altered the pod's propulsion system." Lisa tried to process this. The Vashtari were known to be technologically advanced, but this was beyond anything humanity had witnessed. They could apparently reshape technology with just a touch. "How long until we reach Earth?" she asked. 3 of your days," replied Vesh. "If we are not intercepted." Lisa felt a chill at those words. "Do you think they will follow us?" Vesh made a sound like distant wind. "The isolationists will not stop until I am captured or dead. The knowledge I carry threatens their way of life." Lisa watched the alien for a long moment, trying to understand what was happening. Her crew was lost, possibly forever. She was traveling faster than should be possible with a being from another world, and they were being hunted by others of Vesh's kind who wanted to prevent contact with humans. "Why did you choose this path?" she asked finally. "Why risk everything to help us?" Vesh turned those endless black eyes toward Lisa. "My people have watched yours for centuries," she said. "We have seen your struggles, your wars, your triumphs. Some of us believe you have potential. Others see only danger. Some of us believe we should guide younger species. Others believe we should remain apart, observing, never interfering. I chose to break that tradition." The pod shuddered slightly as they passed through some kind of energy disturbance. Vesh's fingers moved quickly over the controls, stabilizing their course. "I need to rest soon," she said, her melodic voice sounding weaker. "The modifications to this vessel require my constant attention. It is draining." Lisa nodded. "You sleep, I can watch things here." Vesh made a sound like soft laughter. "We do not sleep as you do," she said. "But I must enter a restorative state. You will not be able to maintain the modifications I have made. Simply allow the pod to drift while I regenerate." Lisa agreed, though the thought of floating helplessly through space made her nervous. She watched as Vesh settled back in her seat. The alien's eyes did not close, but the shifting colors of her skin slowed to a gentle pulse. Her body became perfectly still. Lisa checked the pod's original systems. Most were offline, replaced by whatever Vesh had created. The life support still functioned, which was reassuring. The navigation system showed them traveling far faster than the pod was designed for toward Earth. The communication system was damaged beyond repair. She looked out at the streaking stars, feeling utterly alone, yet strangely at peace. She had made her choice. She had saved Vesh and possibly given humanity a chance at survival against whatever threat was coming. Hours passed. Lisa dozed occasionally, jerking awake to check on Vesh and their trajectory. The alien remained in her trance-like state, unmoving, but still somehow radiating power. A sudden alarm jolted Lisa fully awake. A red light flashed on the control panel. She frantically tried to understand what was happening, but the system had been too heavily modified. Vesh stirred her skin, suddenly flaring with bright colors. Her long fingers stretched toward the controls. "We are being scanned," she said. Her voice urgent. Lisa felt her heart race. "Who is it?" she asked. "Are they following us?" Vesh worked quickly, adjusting whatever energy field she had created around the pod. "Not Vashtari," she said. "Something else." Something searching before Lisa could ask more questions. The pod shuddered violently. Light filled the small cabin, blinding white and overwhelming. Lisa felt herself being pulled as if by some invisible force. Then darkness. When Lisa opened her eyes, she found herself lying on a smooth white floor. The escape pod was gone, so was Vesh. She sat up quickly, looking around in panic. The room was large, circular, with walls that seemed to glow with their own light. There were no visible doors or windows, just the endless white surface. Lisa called out, "Vesh, where are you?" Her voice echoed strangely as if the room was much larger than it appeared. A section of the wall rippled and a figure stepped through. It was not Vesh. This being was shorter, with pale blue skin and multiple sets of eyes arranged around an oval head. It wore something like a silver suit that moved like liquid with its body. The being approached Lisa, stopping a few feet away. It made no sound, but Lisa felt a strange pressure in her mind. Then words formed, not spoken but somehow heard. "You are human," it stated. The thought carried curiosity and something like surprise. "Yes," answered Lisa. "Where am I? What have you done with Vesh?" The being tilted its head, multiple eyes blinking in sequence. "We detected unusual energy signatures traveling through our territory. You were intercepted. Your companion is being examined. She is Vashtari." The thought carried recognition and caution. Lisa stood up, trying to appear confident despite her fear. "I need to see her," she said. "We are on an important mission. We must reach Earth." The being remained still for a moment. "The Vashtari do not leave their territory," it thought at her. "This is unprecedented." "I know," said Lisa. "But Vesh is different. She wants to help us. She has information that could save my species." The being seemed to consider this. "You are traveling at speeds your technology cannot achieve it." "Observed Vesh modified our pod," explained Lisa. "She can do things with technology that I don't understand." The multiple eyes blinked again in that strange rolling sequence. "We are aware of Vashtari capabilities," the being projected. The thought carried respect and perhaps a hint of fear. "They are an old species with powerful knowledge. Please," Lisa said, trying to keep her voice steady. "We need to continue our journey. It's important." The wall rippled again and Vesh stepped through. Her skin was pulsing with rapid color changes that Lisa had not seen before. Her black eyes fixed on the blue being. Vesh spoke not in human language but in a series of musical tones and clicks. The blue being responded in kind, their conversation incomprehensible to Lisa. Finally Vesh turned to her. "These are the Narians," she explained. "They control this sector of space. They are concerned about our presence here, especially mine." "Are they going to help us?" asked Lisa. Vesh made that sound like distant wind again. "They are cautious. The Vashtari and Narians have a complex history. We have agreed to certain boundaries over millennia. My presence here violates those agreements." The blue being projected a thought that Lisa could understand. "We must consult with our council. The Vashtari female carries information that concerns us as well." Lisa looked between the two aliens, feeling like a child, caught between ancient powers. Whatever politics existed between their species was far beyond her understanding. But she knew their mission could not be delayed. "We don't have time for a council meeting," she said with more courage than she felt. "Earth needs to be warned." Now Vesh placed a long-fingered hand on Lisa's shoulder. The gesture was surprisingly gentle. "The Narians can help us," she said. "They have technology that can get us to Earth faster than our modified pod, and they have communication systems that can send messages instantly across vast distances." Lisa looked at the blue alien with new interest. "Can you really do that?" she asked. The Narian inclined its head. "We can," it projected. "But we must understand the nature of the threat first. We must know what the Vashtari brings to your world." Vesh stepped forward, her tall form towering over both Lisa and the Narian. "I will share what I know," she said. "But not all. All knowledge has its price, and some is too dangerous to be freely given." The Narian seemed to accept this. "We will call the council," it projected. "You will both present your case." Hours later, Lisa found herself in a vast chamber facing a semicircle of Narians, each slightly different in coloration, but all with the same multiple eyes and liquid silver suits. Vesh stood beside her, tall and imposing, her skin shifting with slow, deliberate patterns that Lisa suspected had meaning to the Narians. Lisa explained their situation as clearly as she could. The war among the Vashtari, the isolationists who wanted to prevent contact with other species, the weapon that could destroy star systems, the chase that had destroyed her ship and separated her from her crew. When she finished, the Nerians conferred among themselves in silence, communicating in whatever telepathic way they used. Vesh remained still, but Lisa could sense tension in the alien woman's posture. Finally, one Nerian stepped forward, its silver suit gleaming under the room's strange light. "We have decided," it projected, the thought reaching all present. "We will help you reach Earth, and we will send warnings to our outposts about the Vashtari isolationists. This conflict concerns all spacefaring species." Relief flooded through Lisa. "Thank you," she said simply. But the Nerian continued. "We require something in exchange. The Vashtari female must share certain knowledge with us. Not all she brings, but enough to help us defend our territories." Lisa looked at Vesh. The tall alien nodded slowly. "I expected this," she said. "I am prepared to share some of what I know." The Nerian gestured toward a doorway that appeared in the wall. "Come," it projected, "preparations must be made." Lisa followed Vesh and the Nerians, her mind racing with questions and possibilities they had found. Allies in this strange corner of space. Perhaps humanity would have a chance after all. The Nerian ship moved through space in ways Lisa could not comprehend. It did not seem to use conventional engines or leave any visible trail. Instead, it seemed to fold space around itself, jumping vast distances in moments. Lisa stood beside Vesh, on the observation deck, watching stars appear and disappear in rapid succession. The tall alien woman had been quiet since their departure from the Nerian station, her skin shifting with slow, subtle patterns of color. "Are you okay?" asked Lisa. Vesh turned those black eyes toward her. "I have shared important knowledge with the Nerians," she said. Her musical voice sounded strained. "Knowledge my people have guarded for thousands of years. I am now truly a traitor to the isolationists." Lisa felt a surge of sympathy. "You did it to help us, to help everyone." Vesh made a sound like distant bells. "There is no turning back now," she said. "The knowledge I shared will change the balance of power in this sector of space. The Nerians are peaceful, but they will use what I gave them to strengthen their defenses, and they will share some of it with their allies. Will that be bad for your people?" asked Lisa. "Not for all," Vesh replied. "But the isolationists will see it as the beginning of the end of our separation. From other species, they will fight harder." Now Lisa considered this. The politics of advanced alien civilizations were complex beyond her understanding. She was just one human trying to navigate forces that had been in motion for centuries before her birth. The Nerian, who seemed to be in charge of their transport, approached. Its multiple eyes blinked in that strange rolling sequence. "We will reach Earth orbit in 6 hours," it projected into their minds. "We have sent messages ahead to prepare for your arrival." "Thank you," said Lisa. Then a thought occurred to her. "My crew," she said. "They were in cryopods ejected from my ship before it was destroyed. Is there any way you could find them?" The Nerian was still for a moment. "We have dispatched search vessels to the coordinates you provided," it projected. "But the area is vast and we must be cautious. The isolationist Vashtari may still be present." Lisa nodded, understanding the risk. She felt responsible for her crew. They had trusted her as the engineer, who stayed awake during their long journey home. Now they were drifting in space, perhaps forever. Vesh placed a long-fingered hand on Lisa's shoulder. "I grieve with you for your lost companions," she said. "But we must focus on what can be saved. Your homeworld, your species." Lisa knew Vesh was right. Earth had to be the priority. But the thought of her friends floating in the void haunted her. She turned away from the observation window, unable to look at the stars any longer. The 6 hours passed. Quickly, the Nerian ship entered Earth's solar system without slowing. Lisa watched on the main viewer as familiar planets came into view. First Jupiter, massive and swirling with storms, then the red dust of Mars, finally the blue-green sphere of Earth. Surrounded by satellites and space stations, the Nerian commander approached. "We have made contact with your planetary defense systems," it projected. "They are suspicious of our presence. We have explained, but they require direct communication with Lisa nodded, understanding the caution. A Narian ship suddenly appearing near Earth would trigger all kinds of alarms. She followed the commander to what appeared to be a communication station. The screen flickered to life, showing the stern face of an older woman with short gray hair and a military uniform. Commander Diane Foster, head of Earth Defense Force. She introduced herself. Who am I speaking with? Lisa. Adams engineer. From research vessel Northern Star, said Lisa quickly. I have an urgent message about a threat to Earth. The commander's expression remained skeptical. We lost contact with the Northern Star 3 weeks ago, she said. You were declared missing. Presumed. Lost. Lisa felt a jolt at hearing how much time had passed. The star was attacked and destroyed, she explained. I escaped with vital intelligence. This is a Narian vessel. They rescued me and helped me return. And who is your companion, Commander? Foster asked, her eyes moving to Vesh, who stood tall behind Lisa. Lisa took a deep breath. This is Vesh, she said. She is Vashtari. She has critical information about a threat to our solar system. The commander's eyes widened slightly at the mention of Vashtari's name. We have never had direct contact with the Vashtari, she said. They avoid all diplomatic relations. That is changing now, said Lisa. Some Vashtari want to help us, others want to remain isolated. The isolationists have a weapon that could destroy entire star systems. Vesh came to warn us. Commander Foster was silent, for a long moment considering. Then she spoke. We need to confirm your identity, Ms. Adams, and assess this situation. Protocol requires quarantine procedures for any returning human who has had contact with unknown species. And as for your alien companion, Vesh stepped forward, her full height impressive even through the screen. My people have observed yours for centuries, she said, her musical voice filling the room. I come with knowledge that will help you survive what is coming. You may take whatever precautions you deem necessary. But time is short. The commander straightened in her chair. Very well, she said. We will send coordinates for docking at Luna Quarantine Station. Your Narian vessel will be escorted by defense craft. Approach exactly as instructed, or you will be fired upon. Is that understood? Lisa nodded. Yes, Commander. Perfectly clear. The screen went dark. The Narian commander turned its multiple eyes toward them. Your species is cautious, it projected. The thought carried approval. Hours later, they approached the Luna Quarantine Station, a massive structure built into the surface of Earth's moon. Defense ships surrounded them, weapons visible and clearly ready. As promised, the Narian ship followed instructions, precisely docking at the designated airlock. Lisa and Vesh stood at the airlock preparing to leave. The Narian commander approached them one last time. We have fulfilled our agreement, it projected. Our vessels will patrol the outer reaches of your system, watching for isolationist Vashtari ships. But we cannot remain here indefinitely. Lisa nodded in understanding. Thank you for everything, she said. You saved our lives. The Narian made a gesture with its hand. The alliance between our peoples begins today. It projected. May it benefit all. The airlock opened, revealing a team of humans in sealed environmental suits with weapons drawn. Lisa went first, her hands raised in the universal gesture of peace. Vesh followed, her movements fluid and graceful despite the lower gravity. They were escorted through sterile white corridors to separate quarantine chambers. Lisa tried to protest the separation, but the security team was firm. Following strict protocol, they said, Lisa's chamber was small but comfortable, with a bed-bathroom facilities and a communication screen. She watched through an observation window as Vesh was led to a larger chamber, specially prepared for her alien physiology. The Vashtari woman showed no resistance, her skin pulsing with slow, calm patterns. A doctor entered Lisa's room wearing a full containment suit. I need to run some tests, she said, her voice muffled by her helmet. It's standard procedure for anyone returning from deep space, especially after contact with unknown species. Lisa submitted to the examinations. Blood tests, scans, samples taken from her skin and hair. She answered endless questions about her journey. The Vashtari. The Narians. Everything that had happened since the Northern Star was attacked. After what seemed like hours, The door opened again, and Commander Foster entered, still wearing a containment suit but without the helmet. Her gray hair was disheveled as if she had been running her hands through it. "Your story checks out," she said. "Your biometrics match our records for Lisa Adams, and the data you brought about the Northern Star's destruction appears authentic." Lisa felt relief flood through her. "What about Vesh?" she asked. "Is she okay?" Commander Foster nodded. "The Vashtari is being treated with respect," she said, "but studied carefully. This is first contact with their species officially, at least. Her presence here has caused quite a stir in government circles. When can I see her?" asked Lisa. The commander considered this. Soon, she said, "But first we need to discuss the information." She brought the weapon, the isolationist faction, the threat to our system. They moved to a conference room where several military and scientific personnel waited, some in person, others on screens. Lisa recognized some of them famous scientists and government officials. She suddenly felt the weight of what was happening. She described everything as clearly as she could. The Vashtari civil conflict, the isolationists' determination to prevent contact with other species, the weapon that could destroy stars, the Narians' involvement. Everything she knew. When she finished, the room was silent. Then a woman Lisa recognized as the Secretary of Defense spoke. "Has the Vashtari provided any proof of these claims?" she asked. "Or are we supposed to take her?" Lisa hesitated. "We have data." She said the information Vesh transferred to our escape pod before it was destroyed, and what she shared with the Narians, they believed her enough to help us get here. Another official leaned forward. "Can we trust this Vesh?" he asked. "How do we know this isn't some kind of trick? Maybe the isolationist center. Maybe this is all a plot to make us waste resources preparing for a non-existent threat." Lisa felt anger rising in her. Vesh risked everything to come here, she said. Her own people want her dead. She believes humanity deserves a chance to survive. The debate continued for hours. Skepticism, caution, fear. Lisa could see it all on their faces. Finally, Commander Foster raised her hand, silencing the room. "Need to speak with the Vashtari directly," she said. "Let her present her own case." Vesh stood before the assembled human leaders, her tall form impossibly elegant against the utilitarian backdrop of the quarantine facility. Her skin shifted with subtle patterns of blue and purple as she began to speak. "My people, the Vashtari, have existed for over 50,000 of your years," she said. "We evolved in a star system far from here with 3 suns and 13 planets. Our technology developed along different paths than yours. We learned to manipulate energy on the quantum level, to blend technology with biology." Lisa watched the faces of the officials as they listened. Their expressions ranged from fascination to skepticism to outright fear. None had expected to be part of humanity's first official contact with an advanced alien civilization. "For most of our history," Vesh continued, "we explored the stars. We encountered many young species. We observed. We learned. Sometimes we helped subtly, guiding development, but always from a distance, never revealing ourselves. 10,000 years ago, a philosophical divide began to grow among my people. Some believed we should continue our role as watchers. Others believed we should withdraw completely, focusing only on our own advancement. This divide grew over centuries until recently. It erupted into open conflict." The Secretary of Defense leaned forward. "And where do you stand in this conflict?" she asked. "I am of the contact faction." Vesh replied, "I believe isolation leads to stagnation. That interaction with other species brings new perspectives, new ideas, growth." Her skin rippled with golden highlights as she spoke. "The isolationists fear contamination. They believe our culture must remain pure, untouched by outside influence. And this weapon—" Commander Foster prompted, "What? Can you tell us about it?" Vesh's skin darkened to deep blue, almost black. "The isolationists have developed a method to destabilize stars." She said, "A targeted pulse that disrupts fusion reactions, causing premature collapse or explosion depending on the star size and age." A scientist spoke up. "That's impossible with known physics." Vesh turned those black eyes toward him. "Your physics is incomplete," she said simply. "The universe operates by principles your science has yet to discover." The room fell. Silent again, Lisa could almost feel the tension. The implications were enormous. A species with the power to destroy stars, and a faction of that species potentially hostile to Earth. Why would they target us? Asked another official. We have never interacted. With your kind officially we pose no threat. Vesh made a sound like distant thunder. You misunderstand, she said. They do not target you specifically. They target all species that might one day reach their level. They eliminate potential rivals before they become threats. And now that I have come here, made contact, shared knowledge, you have become a priority. The Secretary of Defense stood up. So by coming here, you've put us in danger, she said accusingly. Vesh remained calm. You were already in danger, she replied. The isolationists have cataloged Earth as a world with potential. They monitor your progress. They know you are close to developing faster than light travel. Once you achieve that, you become a target. Regardless of my actions, I came to give you a chance to defend yourselves. Lisa stepped forward. Commander Foster, may I speak? She asked. The commander nodded. I've seen what Vesh is capable of, said Lisa. She modified our escape pod to travel faster than should be possible. She communicated with the Narians in ways I still don't understand. Whatever knowledge she brings could advance our technology by centuries. We need to listen. A new voice spoke from one of the screens, a thin man with glasses who Lisa recognized as the head of Earth's Science Council. The question is not whether we should listen, he said, but whether we can trust what we hear. How do we know you speak truth? Vesh of the Vashtari. Vesh turned to him. I will submit to any verification method you possess. She said, I will. Allow your scientists to examine me to test the information I provide. The Narians believed me enough to risk isolationist retaliation. You would be wise to do the same. Commander Foster raised her hand. Let us be practical, she said. If this threat is real, what defense do you offer? Vesh gestured with her long fingers. Shield technology, she said. Methods to detect the energy pulse before it reaches your sun. Ways to disrupt the targeting systems. Perhaps even countermeasures. The Secretary of Defense frowned. What do you want in exchange? Vesh made that sound like soft bells. Nothing, she said. My faction believes knowledge should be shared, that all sentient species deserve the chance to survive. That diversity of thought and culture strengthens the galaxy. We give freely, hoping you will do the same when you encounter younger species in the future. Lisa watched the officials exchange glances. Some seemed moved by Vesh's words. Others remained suspicious. She knew Earth politics well enough to know that reaching consensus would take time. Time they might not have. Commander Foster stood up. Thank you, Vesh, she said. We need to discuss this privately. The council will reconvene in 3 hours. Guards escorted Vesh back to her quarantine chamber. Lisa tried to follow but was directed to a different room. This one more comfortable with actual furniture and a window showing the stark lunar landscape. She paced anxiously waiting. Finally the door opened and Commander Foster entered alone. Dine looked tired, the lines around her eyes deeper than before. They're still arguing, she said, dropping into a chair. Some want to embrace what Vesh offers. Others think it's a trap. Others want to study her indefinitely. She smiled grimly. First contact, politics. Not exactly what they prepared us for at the academy. What do you think? Asked. Lisa Foster sighed. I think we're out of our depth, she admitted. This is beyond anything we've encountered. But I also think we're running out of time. If the isolationists are as advanced as Vesh claims, they could already be on their way. Here Lisa nodded. I trust her, she said. I know that doesn't count for much, but I saw what she risked to get here. She could have stayed with her own kind, lived in safety. Instead, she chose to help us. Foster studied Lisa for a moment. Your crew, she said, suddenly changing the subject. We received word from the Narians. They found some of the cryopods. Lisa's heart jumped. Are they alive? Foster nodded. 3 pods recovered so far, she said. Life signs stable. They're being brought to Luna Station now. Relief flooded through Lisa. But her thoughts quickly returned to Vesh and the larger threat. What will happen now? She asked. Foster stood up, looking out at the lunar landscape. I've been authorized to create a joint scientific team, she said, top minds from every field, working directly with Vesh to verify her claims and understand the technology she offers. If her information proves accurate, we implement immediately full planetary defense protocols. And if not asked, Lisa Foster turned her expression grim. If not, we contain the situation. Her voice softened slightly. I hope she's telling the truth. For all our sakes. Hours later, Lisa was allowed to see Vesh. The alien woman had been moved to a larger facility, still secure but with more amenities. Scientists and engineers moved around the space, setting up equipment, preparing for the work ahead. Vesh stood by a window, her tall form silhouetted against the earth visible in the distance. Her skin rippled with slow patterns of green and blue as Lisa approached. They decided to work with you, said Lisa, unable to hide her relief. Vesh turned those black eyes toward her. They had no choice. She said, the isolationists will have detected the Narration ship entering your system. They will know I have made contact. They will come. Lisa felt a chill at those words. How much time do we have? She asked. Not enough, replied Vesh. But perhaps enough to prepare the basic defenses. She gestured to the equipment being set up. Your scientists are eager to learn. That is good. Curiosity may be your species' greatest strength. Over the following days, Lisa watched as Vesh worked with the human scientists. The Vashtari was patient, explaining concepts that seemed impossible, translating her knowledge into terms humans could understand. The scientists were skeptical at first, but as they tested, Vesh's information verified her claims. Their doubt turned to excitement. Lisa was assigned as liaison between Vesh and the military, spending most of her time translating the aliens' complex explanations into practical applications. She found herself growing closer to Vesh, learning more about the Vashtari, their history, their culture, their view of the universe. Did you ever imagine being here? Asked Lisa one evening as they looked out at Earth, glowing blue and green against the blackness of space. Vesh made a sound like distant wind. I knew the consequences of my choice, she said. I knew I would never see my homeworld again. Never stand under our 3 suns. Never swim in our silver seas. She turned to Lisa. But I believed it was worth the sacrifice. Your species has something rare. Something precious. What? Asked Lisa. Hope replied. Vesh, you believe you can change things, improve, grow. You have not surrendered to fate or tradition. You question everything, even yourselves. That is why I chose Earth. Before Lisa could respond, an alarm sounded throughout the facility. Red lights flashed as Commander Foster's voice came over the speakers. All personnel to emergency stations. This is not a drill. Repeat. This is not a drill. Vesh turned to the window, her skin suddenly pulsing with rapid flashes of red and orange. They are here, she said, her musical voice low and tense. They have found us. Lisa looked out but saw nothing. What? Where? She asked. Vesh pointed to empty space. Beyond your detection range, she said, but approaching quickly. The isolationists have come sooner than I expected. They must have been watching your system already. Lisa felt fear grip her heart. We need to warn Earth, she said. The defenses aren't ready. Chaos erupted throughout the lunar facility. Scientists rushed to secure data. Military personnel moved to defense positions. Lisa followed Vesh as the tall alien woman strode purposefully toward the command center, her skin flashing with urgent patterns of red and gold. Commander Foster stood at the central console, surrounded by officers and technicians. Her face was grim as she looked up at their approach. What exactly are we facing? She asked Vesh directly. The isolationist ship is unlike anything in your experience, replied Vesh. It can alter its energy signature to remain undetectable by conventional means. It carries weapons that can destroy this facility in seconds, and it likely has already deployed stealth probes to monitor your defenses. How do you know they're here? Asked one of the officers skeptically. Our sensors show nothing. Vesh placed her long fingers on the console interface. I know, she said simply. Her skin pulsed with light, and the screen suddenly changed, showing a distortion in space approximately 200,000 kilometers from the moon. There, she said. The shifting patterns hide their true form, but that is an isolationist vessel. Class 3 Hunter. A scout ship, but dangerous. Commander Foster studied the image. How did you reveal this? She asked. Our systems shouldn't be compatible with your methods. Vesh made a sound like distant bells. Your technology is adaptable, she said. I merely helped it see differently. She turned to Lisa. We must implement the shield modifications immediately. The ones we prepared for your larger installations. Lisa nodded, feeling a strange calm despite the crisis. She had been working with the engineering team for days, helping them understand Vesh's shield designs. They had prototypes ready but hadn't deployed them yet, waiting for final approval and testing. Commander Foster was already issuing orders. Get those shield modifications to every installation. Now, she barked. Priority Alpha. Vesh stepped closer, her voice low enough that only Foster and Lisa could hear. The shields are only the beginning, she said. We must prepare for their landing parties. Landing parties, repeated Foster. They will send troops. Vesh nodded, her skin darkening. The hunter ships carry warrior drones, she explained, machines designed to capture or kill. They will target me first, but they will eliminate anyone who interferes. Foster turned to her security chief. Double the guards on all levels, she ordered. And get those new weapons online. I want every soldier equipped. Hours passed in frantic preparation. Lisa worked alongside the engineering team, implementing Vesh shield modifications across the lunar network. The alien woman moved between departments, sharing critical information, adjusting plans, offering insights that left the human scientists in awe. They gathered again in the command center as the first shield came online. A shimmering field of energy surrounded the main facility, barely visible, except where lunar dust occasionally touched it and flared with brief sparks. Will it hold? Asked Commander Foster, against their initial weapons. Yes, replied Vesh. But they will adapt. They always do. As if in response to her words, alarms blared throughout the facility. Sensors detected multiple small objects breaking away from the isolationist ship and heading toward them. Incoming, said the tactical officer. 18, no 20 objects. Speed increasing. Deploy countermeasures ordered. Foster, the lunar defense system activated, firing energy pulses at the approaching objects. Several exploded in brilliant flashes, but others continued their approach, changing course in ways that seemed impossible, swerving and spinning around the defense fire. Their learning, said Vesh, her voice tense, adjusting to your weapons patterns. Lisa watched the screens in horror as the objects drew closer. What happens when they reach us? She asked. Vesh turned those black eyes to her. They will attempt to breach the shield, she said. If they succeed, they will enter the facility. They will seek me out and they will destroy anyone who tries to stop them. Commander. Foster stood straighter, her hand moving to her sidearm. We won't let that happen, she said. The first impacts came moments later. The shield flared brilliantly as objects struck it. Some disintegrated on contact, but others seemed to stick to the energy field, pulsing with their own power. They're probing for weaknesses, explained Vesh, testing the resonance patterns. One by one, the objects began to push through the shield like liquid metal flowing through tiny cracks in the energy field. As they emerged on the other side, they took form. Sleek silver machines about the size of a human, but with multiple limbs that ended in tools or weapons. Their bodies seemed to flow and reshape as they moved. Security teams engaged immediately, firing the new weapons. Vesh had helped design energy pulses that disrupted the drone's internal systems. Some fell, others adapted, continuing their advance. Through the facility, Vesh touched Lisa's arm. We must go, she said. There is one more defense we can deploy, but not from here. Lisa followed as Vesh moved swiftly through the corridors, away from the command center, away from the main fight. They passed wounded security personnel, scientists huddling in secured rooms, evidence of the drone's advance. Where are we going? Asked Lisa too. The core replied, Vesh. The central power distribution node. They reached a heavily secured door. Vesh placed her hand on the access panel. Her skin pulsed with light and the door slid open, revealing a massive chamber filled with humming machinery. The power core of the lunar facility. Lisa recognized the modifications they had made days earlier following Vesh's instructions. Energy conduits that shouldn't exist, connections that defied standard engineering circuits that looped in impossible patterns. "This is it," said Vesh, approaching the central console. "What I prepared for." She turned to Lisa. "I need your help." Lisa stepped forward. "What do I do?" Vesh explained quickly. They needed to reconfigure the power distribution, creating a resonance field that would disrupt the drone communications. They worked together, Lisa's hands moving over familiar controls while Vesh shaped energy in ways Lisa still didn't fully understand. The door burst open. 3 drones entered their bodies, shifting and flowing like quicksilver. They moved toward Vesh, ignoring Lisa completely. Their focus absolute. "Keep working." Vesh commanded, continuing. Her adjustments to the system Lisa worked frantically, completing the sequences as the drones approached. The first reached for Vesh, its limbs reshaping into restraints. The alien woman dodged with impossible grace, her tall form moving like water. The second drone fired some kind of energy pulse. Vesh deflected it somehow, her skin flaring with brilliant light. The blast hit the wall, leaving a smoking crater. Almost there, called Lisa. The system was charging, building the resonance field. Just a few more seconds. The third drone lunged, catching Vesh around her slender waist. Its silver body began to flow over her like it was trying to absorb her. Vesh struggled, her skin flashing with patterns of pain and resistance. Lisa completed the final sequence. Now she shouted. Vesh broke free of the drone with a surge of strength. Her long fingers pressed the activation control. The chamber filled with pulsing waves of energy that Lisa could feel but not see. The drones froze, their liquid metal bodies solidifying. Then they shattered into countless glittering pieces throughout the facility. The same thing happened. All the drones suddenly stopped, then broke apart. The attack was over, at least for now. Vesh leaned against the console, her skin pulsing slowly with exhaustion. "It is temporary," she said. "They will send more, and they will adapt to this defense as well." Lisa moved to support the alien woman. "Are you hurt?" she asked. Vesh made a sound like soft rain. "I will recover," she said. "But we must prepare the hunter. Ship will attack directly now." They returned to the command center to find Commander Foster coordinating repairs and defense preparations. The facility had suffered damage, but held most of the personnel had survived. Though many were wounded, Vesh briefed the commander on what to expect next. The isolationists would not retreat. They would escalate, possibly targeting the shield generators from orbit. The lunar facility had limited options. "There is another way," said Vesh. "Finally, I can send a message to the contact faction. Request reinforcements. My people can fight the isolationists on equal terms." Foster frowned. "I thought you were cut off from your people." "I am," replied Vesh. "But the Narians can relay a message. It would take time, but it might be our best hope." As they discussed options, alarms sounded again. The isolationist ship was moving, changing position. "Coming closer. They're charging weapons," reported the tactical officer. "Energy readings off the scale. Evacuate ordered." Foster, "Get everyone to the emergency shelters." Lisa felt Vesh's hand on her arm. "We have one more option," she said, her black eyes intense, "but it requires sacrifice." "What kind of sacrifice?" asked Lisa, suddenly afraid. Vesh led her to a private console, quickly inputting commands. A schematic appeared, showing a modified shuttle with additions Lisa recognized from their work over the past days. "I can take this vessel," said Vesh. "Approach their ship directly. Their focus is on me. If I surrender, they may spare your facility." Lisa shook her head. "No," she said fiercely. "You can't. They'll kill you." Vesh made that sound like distant wind. "Perhaps," she said. "But perhaps I can reach their ship, disable their weapons from within. Give your people time to prepare. The contact faction will come eventually." They monitor isolated systems. They will have detected the hunter ship, Lisa argued. But Vesh was determined. Commander Foster reluctantly approved the plan, seeing no better alternative. The shuttle was prepared quickly with the modifications. Vesh specified Lisa insisted on accompanying her despite the aliens' protests. "We started this together," she said. "We finish it together."